Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to those of you around the world. Welcome to the daily Trade the Chain crypto update, where we give you everything you need to know for the next 24 hours and hopefully the next few days. Today is Wednesday, February 8th. We are halfway through the week and experiencing some very interesting volatility, likely driven by DXY, which we've started with this session, for many days going back into December and January. And it's really been the best weather vane that we can have for predicting risk market price action. So basically, line in the sand right here is 103.5. Break above that, and you're obviously moving higher. Risk is likely moving lower in this scenario. Stay below 103.5, which it's currently doing, and risk is likely moving higher, which you are seeing. So the moral of the story today is, and there we go. Now the chart loads. So this is where we were at when we opened. Basically rejected at the previous daily close, moved lower towards the VWAP, and are recovering. We had a massive amount of shorts open up on both equities and crypto, which is helping fuel what looks to be a mini squeeze right now when you have a lot of shorts line up towards the lows or towards the lower end of the range or the general movement, which in this case happens to be the VWAP, which it generally is for such a movement. You will see a lot of shorts stack up, and if price moves higher, meaning some spot bids come in, some longs come in, and price moves higher, then those shorts close. And when those shorts close, what they have to do is buy assets to cover their shorts. So if they're covering their shorts, they're buying assets, which is fueling price moving higher. That's why you see that's literally pretty much what happened 3 times yesterday. Short squeeze, long squeeze, short squeeze. And now we're seeing a bit of a mini squeeze here, as well as on Bitcoin, but let's dive in and see if that lasts. So we're sitting on top of the VWAP. We were rejected at the previous daily close. So the daily range is now the VWAP as well as the previous daily close. If you can stay above the VWAP, then you are likely headed back to that 4150 level. If you break through the VWAP after this little squeeze starts to run dry, then you're likely headed down to 4100. And of course, we've lined out support levels below 4100 many times throughout the past couple of weeks. We've been above 4100 since the start of February. So if we break down below 4100, 4140 to 4150, somewhere around there, and then we have some support around 3980 and lower as we dip back into where we were trading in mid to early January. Looking at Bitcoin, very similar scenario. Equities in Bitcoin have been very closely correlated. That has not changed. And if you just look at basic formation here from an hourly perspective, there's not a whole lot of difference, but obviously Bitcoin much more volatile and 24/7 market. So what we're looking at right now is, instead of the VWAP being support for Bitcoin as it was for equities, it is resistance. So we squeeze the lower end of my VWAP cloud, which is very valuable. As you can see, we're a lot of wicks below that cloud, and then obviously bouncing back out. So we wicked beneath the cloud. VWAP is now resistance, whereas resistance this morning was previously the previous daily close. So again, very similar outlook for equities versus Bitcoin. Bitcoin, except for the fact that Bitcoin now has the VWAP as resistance rather than support. So if you can get above the VWAP, maybe back to the previous daily close around 23.2 or 23.3, get rejected by the VWAP, then you are probably headed back towards this demand zone, which would clean up some of the lows that we experienced in January. So, that's a pretty simplistic outlook. Again, if you are catching knives here, you're probably riding pretty happy, but I wouldn't start aping into longs just to target 23.2, 23.3. It would probably be better to wait and see how this demand zone reacts. But of course, if you do get above the previous daily close, if you can confirm above 23.3, probably a good long entry, at least back up to the previous high, or maybe higher, but probably best to cut just based on the volatility that we've seen so far. So no real clear signal. We basically got a dump, and we got a short squeeze, knife catch, whatever you want to call it. VWAP is now resistance. Demand zone is support. Previous daily close is also resistance if we move higher. So you have, areas to make bets and make trades if you would like. And then, of course, if the demand zone fails, again, 21.3, 21.4. If that level fails, 20.4. And if that fails, then we've got a pretty big fair value gap sending us lower beneath 20K. So very much hoping that the demand zone holds up. If not, very much hoping that 21.4 holds up. If not, the last hope is around 20.5. For Ethereum, a little bit more similar to equities than Bitcoin. VWAP is currently support. Also, that 1650 support level that I've had lined up for quite some time. So confluence of support. Resistance is obviously previous daily close. Could end up just ranging in this area, get above the previous daily close. You're obviously moving higher, and then break down beneath the VWAP and beneath 1650. You're headed back to probably equal Monday lows, if not lower, to coincide with a lot of this trading activity around 1600 flat. If 1600 flat fails, then we're 1530, or then around 1500. If 1500 fails, it starts to get pretty ugly beneath 1500, as you've got a lot of gaps in trading that the market will probably end up, elevator down. As we say, stairs up, elevator down. Well, you can see the stairs are getting a little bit smaller and smaller. We're still, as I mentioned yesterday, still making lower highs, still making equal highs or higher highs. So there's that positivity for us. But as I've said many, many times before, when you start to see this kind of pattern, you start to wonder, is it a double top? Are we starting to roll over? The fact that we, 3 taps at the 1680, 1690 level, not very good. And typically, we call this the power of 3. 1, 2, 3 taps will typically then send you in the opposite momentum. So something to watch out for. Obviously, I'm not short right now. But if we start breaking down beneath these support levels, I will probably start to follow into some shorts and play that. Remember, we have CPI next Tuesday. We had Jerome Powell speak yesterday. Of course, all of this volatility was because of Jerome Powell. At first, he said they were not targeting anything other than max unemployment, which we're at, which was positive. And then basically he said if unemployment continues to go stronger or inflation grows weaker, or if inflation goes stronger as well, meaning inflation gets higher and unemployment's getting lower, then the Fed may have to hike longer, which could imply a terminal rate higher than what the market had priced in after the previous FOMC meeting, which would be above 5% terminal rate. So the market's currently obviously trying to figure that out, as markets do. It's our job to try and figure out, what they may do. And in my opinion, if we confirm this triple top, start to break back down in the lower end of the range for Ethereum, pretty good confirmation. If Bitcoin, if Bitcoin gets rejected off the VWAP, which seems a little bit likely right now, then I'll probably start to dive in. And obviously, if equities break through this VWAP and break through 4100, it's probably going to exacerbate the situation, because then you've got a pretty much confirmed double top, flew through the range, broke beneath the lower end of the range. That is a confirmed double top, and it is even still valid on the 4-hour. Although it has not confirmed yet, I should say, it needs to break this neckline basically to be a confirmed double top, but it's there. We could also then form another lower high and then reattack that. And then, then potentially you have the power of 3 again, where you have 3 taps and then you're moving lower. But of course, if you break above previous highs, then that analysis, that double top, is a little bit more moot, because you have a higher high in place. And then we continue kind of this stair step higher. So very interesting area. I do know a lot of people that, stepped into some longs here, but I'm not as zealous as them. And I'd rather wait for some more confirmation, considering all the things that I have going on in my life. This has been a fantastic rally. I think it's definitely possible to continue higher. If we kind of look at the daily chart, the issue, and I'll remove these squigglies. The issue is we've just been consolidating. We've had no retap at, the 200 estimated moving average. Doesn't really need to happen, and it can certainly just, start to, continue the chop higher. But, this is certainly, with that SFP on the daily, trading back in the lower end of the range from this kind of larger daily range that we've been in. Obviously, it starts to get a little bit more bearish in terms of outlook, in terms of viewpoint relative to structure. So I think that there is room. I still think 25K is plausible, and we could see a massive spike up and then a wick that sends us right back down to the demand zone. 100% plausible. But I think if you are trading, if you made some good money on this rise, probably a better time to stop and think, is the music going to stop? What are the signals that I want to see for the music to stop? Do I like the support levels to re-enter lower for some better buys? Or do I really think that buying here and longing here just to grab a little bit of edge to 25K is a good idea? You have to ask yourself that. And right now, I don't think it's worth it because of all this movement that we've had and glorious altcoin movements and things of that nature. But, it's certainly plausible. So I would rather play it protective and look for shorts and confirmation for movement lower. But of course, we know exactly what we need to see for confirmation higher. Survive these VWAPs, and you've definitely still got momentum pushing in the higher direction, although it seems to be waning from my point of view. So good luck, happy trading. If you're not in the Trade the Chain community, that's where all the juicy updates and alpha go every single morning and every single afternoon. So go ahead and get signed up at tradethechain.com. Else I will see you tomorrow, same time, same place.